The Philippines and China, two nations with a shared history that spans centuries. Two countries separated by the vast ocean, yet connected by a rich and intricate tapestry of history and culture. Long before Spanish galleons arrived in Manila Bay, Chinese junks laden with silk, porcelain, and other treasures were already making their way to our shores. These early voyages were not just about trade. They were the beginning of a deep and enduring relationship. This ancient friendship, built on the exchange of goods and ideas, has left an indelible mark on the Philippines. From bustling markets to grand cultural festivals, the influence of Chinese culture is woven into the very fabric of our society. The food we savor, the words we speak, and even the traditions we uphold bear the unmistakable imprint of Chinese heritage. Dishes like pancit and siopaw and words like suzi, ki, and gusi jar are just a few examples of this cultural fusion. In Binondo, Manila's vibrant Chinatown, the air is filled with the tantalizing aromas of spices and the melodic sounds of Chinese dialects. This bustling district is a living testament to the enduring presence and influence of Chinese culture in our daily lives. But this story is not just about merchants and the goods they traded. It's about the people who made these journeys, the families they started, and the communities they built. It's a tale of migration, integration, and the blending of cultures. Chinese immigrants settled in the Philippines, married locals, and created a unique cultural mosaic that is distinctly Filipino, yet deeply influenced by Chinese traditions. Over time, Chinese communities have flourished, contributing significantly to the economic and social development of the Philippines. From thriving businesses to vibrant community events, their impact is both profound and far-reaching. And this is not just a story of the past. Today, the relationship between the Philippines and China continues to evolve. Through trade agreements, business partnerships, and diplomatic engagements, our two nations are navigating the complexities of a modern world together. This series will delve into the fascinating history of Chinese influence in the Philippines, uncovering stories that have shaped our nation. We'll journey back to the time of ancient Filipino kingdoms and bustling port cities, exploring the early interactions between our peoples and the foundations of our shared history. We'll examine the Spanish colonial period, a time of both opportunity and challenge for the Chinese community in the Philippines. Despite facing restrictions and prejudice, they persevered and continued to contribute to the country's growth. And we'll bring the story to the present day, exploring the dynamic and sometimes complex relationship between the Philippines and China. We'll look at the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead as our two nations continue to interact on the global stage. Join me on this journey as we uncover hidden stories, celebrate forgotten heroes, and recognize the lasting impact of the Chinese people in shaping the Philippines into the vibrant and diverse nation it is today. Our story starts way before the Spanish arrived, when the Philippines was made up of many separate kingdoms, each with its own special culture and traditions. Even back then, the islands weren't isolated. Chinese traders sailing south with the wind had already built a strong trading network across Southeast Asia. The Philippines, right in the middle of these sea routes, became an important trading partner. We know about this early trading from things we've dug up. Archaeologists have found lots of Chinese things buried in the ground all over the Philippines: beautiful porcelain bowls, fancy jade jewelry, bronze mirrors, and iron tools. These things, some from as far back as the 9th century, show us that the Philippines and China were trading a lot, even before anyone wrote it down. One of the most important trading centers was the island of Mindoro, which the Chinese called Ma'i. Chinese books describe Ma'i as a place full of gold, beeswax, pearls, and tortoise shells, things the Chinese really wanted. In return, Chinese traders brought silk, porcelain, iron tools, and other things they made, helping both sides become richer. But it wasn't just about trading stuff. Filipino traders who were great sailors also traveled north to busy Chinese cities. They brought back not just things to sell, but also new ideas and ways of doing things. This early contact started a cultural exchange that would grow stronger over time. The Philippines and China helped each other back then, showing how trade and sharing cultures can connect people even if they live far apart. When the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, everything changed for the Philippines. The archipelago, which had been a melting pot of various Asian cultures, suddenly found itself under European rule. The Spanish brought with them not only their military might but also their religion, language, and customs, which began to permeate Filipino society. They took control of the islands and brought their own rules. The Spanish established a colonial government, built grand churches, and introduced new agricultural practices. They also imposed their own social hierarchy, which often marginalized the local population. But even with these big changes, the old friendship between the Philippines and China didn't just survive, it got even stronger and more complicated. Chinese merchants had been trading with the islands long before the Spanish arrived, and their presence only grew under Spanish rule. The Chinese brought goods that were highly valued, such as silk, porcelain, and spices, which were traded for local products like gold and tropical fruits. Manila, which the Spanish made the capital of their new colony, became the center of this changing relationship. The city was strategically located, making it an ideal hub for trade. Its bustling streets were filled with a mix of Spanish, Filipino, and Chinese influences, creating a unique cultural tapestry. Because Manila was an important stop on the galleon trade route, the route that connected Asia to America, the city quickly became a very busy trading center. The Manila galleons carried silver from the Americas to Asia and returned with goods that were sold in European markets. This trade route was one of the earliest examples of global commerce. Chinese ships full of silk, porcelain, and other goods were always coming into Manila Bay, and the Spanish and Filipinos were always happy to see them. These goods were not only valuable, but also brought a touch of luxury to everyday life in the colony. The Spanish knew that the Chinese were important for trade, so they encouraged them to move to the Philippines. They offered incentives such as tax breaks and land grants to attract Chinese merchants and artisans. Chinese craftspeople, shopkeepers, and workers came to Manila, hoping for better opportunities in this growing city. They set up shops, opened businesses, and became an integral part of the local economy. Whole neighborhoods, like Binondo, were built just for these new Chinese people, becoming lively centers of Chinese culture and business inside the Spanish city. Binondo, in particular, became known as the world's oldest Chinatown, a testament to the enduring legacy of Chinese influence in the Philippines. All these Chinese people changed the Philippines a lot. Their presence was felt in every aspect of life, from the markets to the temples and even in the local cuisine. They brought their business skills and ideas, but also their food, language, and traditions, making the culture of the islands even more interesting. The fusion of Chinese and Filipino traditions created a unique cultural blend that is still evident today. Chinese food with its noodles, rice, and tasty flavors quickly became popular with Filipinos, and eventually became the Filipino-Chinese food we love today. Dishes like pancit and lumpia are just a few examples of this delicious culinary fusion. So even though the Spanish controlled the Philippines, the connection with China became even stronger. Trade agreements and cultural exchanges flourished, creating a dynamic and interconnected society. Chinese culture, already a part of the islands, became even more important to Filipino life. Festivals, traditions, and even everyday practices were influenced by this rich cultural exchange, creating a unique and vibrant society that continues to thrive today. The story of the Chinese in the Philippines during Spanish times isn't just about moving and trading, it's also about families mixing, and a new group of people being born, the Chinese Mestizos. This unique blend of cultures created a vibrant and influential community that left a lasting impact on the country's history and development. As Chinese people made the Philippines their home, they started families with Filipinos. These unions were not just about love and companionship, but also about merging two distinct cultures, traditions, and ways of life. The children from these unions, known as mestizos, carried the legacies of both their Chinese and Filipino heritage. Chinese men and Filipino women married, and their children were called mestizos. These mestizos often found themselves at the crossroads of two worlds, navigating the complexities of their dual heritage. They were a testament to the blending of cultures, embodying the strengths and challenges of both. These Chinese mestizos, often born to rich Chinese businessmen and women from important Filipino families, had a special place in society. Their unique position allowed them to bridge gaps between different communities, fostering understanding and cooperation. They learned how to be good at business from their Chinese fathers, and had important family connections from their Filipino mothers. This combination of skills and networks gave them a significant advantage in the competitive world of commerce and trade. This helped them become rich and important, something that was harder for Chinese and Filipino people at that time. Their success was not just a personal achievement but also a reflection of the potential that lay in cultural integration and mutual respect. Mostly living in cities like Manila, especially in Binondo, the Chinese Mestizos became very powerful in business. Binondo, known as the world's oldest Chinatown, was a bustling hub of commerce where Chinese Mestizos played a crucial role in the economic landscape. They were good at trading and often helped the Spanish, the Filipinos, and the Chinese community do business together. Their ability to navigate different cultural contexts made them indispensable intermediaries in a diverse and dynamic marketplace. They were rich and influential, living in big houses, supporting the arts, and even getting involved in local government. Their contributions to society went beyond business. They were patrons of culture and active participants in civic life. But the story of the Chinese Mestizos is complicated. Their unique position often put them in challenging situations, as they had to balance the expectations and prejudices of both the Chinese and Filipino communities. Even though they had some advantages, the Spanish didn't always trust them, and some Filipinos saw them as competition. This lack of trust and the perception of being outsiders made their social and economic endeavors more complex. They felt like they didn't completely belong to either the Chinese or Filipino communities, which made their lives difficult sometimes. This sense of not fully belonging created a unique set of challenges that they had to navigate daily. But even with these problems, the Chinese Mestizos did very well. Their resilience and adaptability allowed them to thrive despite the obstacles they faced. They were good at business, had a vibrant culture, and never gave up, which made a big difference in the Philippines. Their contributions to the country's economic and cultural landscape were significant and enduring. They became an important part of the country's culture and economy, and their story shows how complicated it can be to belong when different cultures come together. The legacy of the Chinese Mestizos is a testament to the power of cultural integration and the enduring impact of their contributions to the Philippines.